us, that she could only be a teacher or she could be a nurse.
Right.
And so she became a nurse.
Right.
And that really started, that whole thing, just that experience, I think, started a cycle for her
True.
of anger and resentment towards men and towards the whole system and
And
to
she just walked
herself.
out with 8 kids left behind.
Yeah, well, she left us.
That's what I'm saying. She
Yeah,
walked out.
yeah, she walked out later
Wow.
in the later
And
in
she
that
got
marriage.
married.
I can't remember what she did. She left. I don't know. I didn't see her for quite a few years
Okay.
afterwards. So
Wow. But that is a big vacuum in anybody's life, and 8 children to be taken care of. And I hope your dad was able to cope with it. Huh?
he did his best, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
It's not a
So
fairy tale story, I'll tell you
no,
that.
I know. I mean, it's a story that needs to be talked about, because it's something that you're talking in person. One hears these kind of things, but to actually hear it firsthand makes all the difference, actually. But as a father, uh, what was the interaction between the children, and were they being brought up like normal teenagers, or were the children?
No, there was a lot of abuse in the home, a lot of physical, emotional, sexual abuse within my home, so it was not a pretty scene. So
Yeah. Sorry. Uh,
I come from
like,
Mexico.
oh,
Back to
great.
Mexico, sorry.
Come in front a little bit.
Thank
You,
you. What is really interesting about the subject, I've been reading a little bit about it. We have a huge, thank you. We have a huge issue in our border town. I come from Nogales, Sonora, Mexico, right on the border town with the USA.
right.
About teen pregnancy among all of the sexual education in school since kindergarten. We start with the, don't touch me, blah blah blah.
Kindergarten.
Yeah, it's
Gee.
of course it's regarding each age, but it
Age.
starts all with don't touch me, what's right and what's not okay, blah blah blah. But then we're having younger and younger girls having
Yeah.
children, and the issue is that it's not a forced marriage; it's
Correct.
mostly a wrong decision.
It is. It
So
is.
we always
Absolutely.
ask from the grassroots group we support, did you fail biology? No. So it's not a matter of formal education at school. They got a straight A in biology.
Wow.
This is about making decisions, self-esteem, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Self-esteem,
yeah, the
Yes.
programs that we have developed are towards that, not the biology issue. The biology issue is covered.
No, biology issues just carry on. I mean, this is something. These are all momentary, situations, and then people just carry on. But the aftermath of it, your long-term impressions in your own mind, in the mind of the society, in the mind of your relationship with your family, with siblings, with that's where the issues slowly and gradually build up. Because, whatever the act of commission at that point of time, it's happened. And, you know, well, you've accepted it. And you may resent it at some point, but no, at that point of time, that was your decision. So you carry on with it. But when we are talking about this issue, we're talking about this issue as a large issue. And what was the society doing about, at least minimizing these events? Because there was a time in the US that it had been gaining momentum like you can't believe. It had become viral, and there were so many teen pregnancies that people were actually afraid of what was happening. But I think today there is a lot of, from very little childhood, people have started educating their children, telling their children what it means, and the ups and downs of both sides of the issue. So, it has made a difference. It's much better. At least the teenagers are aware, which, like, I belong to the much older group. We were totally ignorant to the core, because we had no idea about what sex meant. We were getting married and knew nothing. Can you beat it? I'm talking about India. And we really knew nothing, because the parents were always shy to discuss. There was never any discussion.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah,
Never.
even in, yeah.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, we don't talk about, we do not there was no preparation other than how to cook and clean and babysit.
Babysit.
There wasn't really preparation on what it
But-
meant to have a sexual relationship or what it meant to have a baby. It was just expected that you get married and have a babies. And I even think still with the young girls, even now, I watch them, their main concern is having a boyfriend, getting a boyfriend.
That is true. That is
And-
always uppermost in everybody's mind.
But I think it comes back again down to that self-esteem part, like you had mentioned, that I believe that a lot of women, a lot of these young girls have been, that we've been, as women, have been brought up to believe that our value is based on more on not only our looks, but who our husband is. And
Right.
do we have a husband even? Because if we don't have a husband, boy, what's wrong with you? You know, and so there's still that missing piece, I think, in that women
In the
get
whole
to find
picture,
out
in the
who
whole
they
picture,
are,
yes, yes,
right?
that's
Finding
true.
their own self-esteem and finding their own beingness beyond being a wife or a mother, and so.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you. The other thing that I would like to add about this group that started in Nogales is a group that was started by by a young woman who became a mother at 16. Her mother was working at the general hospital, and she didn't find out until she was 6 months.
Ooh.
So it was like a 3-month pregnancy because they only knew for 3 months. But she was
Yes.
so sick, she had to be hospitalized for high pressure, blah, blah, blah. And when she came home from the hospital, it was C-section, 16, etc. And the next morning, her mom says, well, goodbye, sweetie, I have to go to work at 6 a.m. So it was her with the C-section and trying to look for the baby, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And she started this grassroots group with herself, talking to teenagers in schools about her own story. So what developed after that was a 4-session group. The first one, children, I would call them children, in middle school. We have discovered that high school, it's too late. We have
Yes,
moved
that's
to
true.
middle school,
That's
and
true.
they can ask any question, as gross as it might seem. You will be amazed of what they know about this, at least in theory. So we put the group puts all the questions in different envelopes. Those envelopes are taken to a local, very well recognized gynecologist. And
Right.
he would answer via recording the most common answers with a medical doctor, not model, not from a mother point of view, a teacher, from a doctor. Facts. And then the third one, it's bringing a video from the teenage moms themselves saying, I woke up this morning at 6 a.m., I was having my final test in math to graduate from school, and my child has not stopped crying from my earache. I missed graduation. That's a
Wow.
fact. You're taking care of someone else, children are going to get sick.
That is true.
Period.
That is true.
And some of them were saying, I have been saving money for some shoes, but then the baby needs a new diaper rash. He developed a diaper rash, and he needs a new brand of diapers, and so on and so on. And by the fourth session, the children decide if they are ready to have an open and active sex life. 95% the answer is no. No one is telling them, do it, don't do it, it's right, it's wrong, it's a sin. No, it's just, these are the facts, go ahead. And when we talk to them, we say, you're so young, you're not able to have a credit card, you're not even able to cash a check, you're not able to drive to get
Drive
your
a car,
license, to buy a
yes,
house.
yes.
You're not able to take care of someone else.
True.
So that, I think that stays in their mind. And public high school, there are 18 high schools and middle school in our town. The principals will ask us every year to have the program, because during the years that the programs have been steady because of funding, sometimes we drop out because of funding and then come back, etc. The teenage pregnancies, 0.
Oh, nice.
This is amazing. And I think that they should be doing that in the US also, because, of course, we are always talking of different stratas in society. You go to the poorer section, and I know that Mexico has a lot of that level. Teen pregnancies are remarkably more.
Grandmothers are 30.
Pardon?
Grandmothers are 30.
Yeah,
It's the same cycle.
yeah, that's true. So, so we have to address this problem at different levels. We have the same thing in India. We have a lot of poverty in India, and but the result is that so many teen pregnancies. Now, abortion is illegal, and so there are a lot of illegal abortion clinics. As a result, there are so many deaths. It's a cycle that is very hard to break. Now, you're talking about a very valid thing that, going through all these sessions, putting them on the screen, talking to the doctors. But where are the doctors to talk for these poor people?
It's very easy in this way, because you video record the session from the doctor.
I
20 minutes to see.
agreed.
And
But
so the video from the real teenage girl.
I agree. That's certainly valid. But these are a lot of street people, people living on the streets. They don't have access to all this. So they just carry their babies in their arms
Like,
and beg. And they don't have a place to live. They have those shanties where they're living. So that's the society that is really going through the hardest time. In the middle levels, a lot is happening. Education, awareness, and videos, talking to gynaes, even child marriage is a big thing in India, especially in the rural areas, which over the years has been steadily declining because for the same reasons that, you know, you're too young to take your decisions. And why would the parents want to get their children, girls, married so young? They do not understand marriage. They do not understand relationships. They do not understand responsibility. So why would they do something like that? Anyway, constant telling, constant education, constant counseling, the realize and the law having to come in that the minimum age of marriage has to be 16. Yeah, and but it still happens. Yeah, it still happens.
So, what would you say is the most important thing to be teaching these young girls to assist them in choosing, you know, an education rather than a baby?
Constant talking, a good relationship.
role models.
That's
They need
it.
a local role model.
Yes,
Not from the local
const.
TV from the
Yeah,
US or
especially and
local
also
role model.
even the parents. At that age, the children at a very rebellious age, they don't want to listen to their parents. But I always feel that a constant relationship, positive relationship with a parent, and gradually telling them you do not have to sit down and beat them to do it, but you can actually mold them, and it happens.
And you don't have to take the other part from those who are already mothers. Everyone has told them, your life is over, you did so wrong, you will never go ahead, etc. So what we tell them with this small scholarship is, you have a baby, period. Turn the page over. Your mother cannot take care of him because she has to work in order to bring food to the table. Mostly are single grandmothers, single girls. Because
Correct?
it's an act of magic. The minute a baby appears, the boy disappears. Magic.
Really, that's true.
It's true
And
everywhere.
and a lot of this happens from homes that are broken also, because that's what the girls or the children have seen happening in their own families.
Well, and I think that's a big piece is that they've coming from a broken home,
Home,
and
yes.
that support, because you talk about having support from your family.
Family, yeah.
I didn't have support from my family
Right.
either. There wasn't that loving connection within my home, and I think I even still look at some of my friends now, and I look at how they are with their daughters, and they still, like, there's this brokenness within them as mothers that they're still teaching their daughters, well, you got to get married, you got to look good so you get the great boy. I mean, and like there's this mindset that having the perfect boy or having the perfect husband is going to solve